Hello everyone and welcome to this video. I will show you how you can easily create a Power BI dashboard from scratch without any prior knowledge of data analysis. And all you need is the Power BI desktop version, which you can install for free in a link that I have provided in the description below. And the dataset that we'll be using for this video is also freely available. I have provided a link for that as well in the description. So the first step that you need to do is to create a blank report. And then you have these options here to ingest data. And the data set that we'll be using for this tutorial is in an Excel file. So we'll choose this one. And then, the name of the file is coffee shop sales. And exactly as it sounds, it's a data of a coffee shop. So I will open it. Then we need to select this transactions table, and you have the option here to do transformations, but in this case we will actually just load the data. Now it's complete. So here you can see the table that we just loaded into Power BI from the Excel file. So if I click on it, you can see all the columns we have. So we can start by maybe just dragging the product category to see which categories we have in our coffee shop. See here, we see the product categories, and then we may be interested in the revenue related to these different product categories. And here we actually have unit price, so we could take this one and just drag it here, and then we see the sum of the unit price for all of the different categories that we have. And actually we may want to display this as a column chart. Then we can just click on this one, and then you get a nice beautiful column chart. Yes, and we may also be interested in looking at the sales over time. And we see here that in the data set we have a column called transaction date, so we can just drag it over here. And then you see the different levels of time granularity, and we can actually remove the quarter just to make it look a bit simpler. And then we may be interested maybe in the transaction quantity over time. That's always interesting to know when you have a coffee shop. And for this one we can actually use a line chart, which is a really great chart if you want to see how something changes over time. So if you click on it, you see that we have an x-axis, we get an x-axis and a y-axis. And usually you have the time variable in the x-axis and the target variable, what you want to analyze, in the y-axis. And here what you see is just one data point, and that's because we see the aggregated value of the transactions for 2023. So this data only contains data for 2023, so that's why we only see one dot here. But you can actually drill down. So if you click on this one, you can go down one level and you can see the sales for each month. And this data only stretches from January to June, so that's why we only see these months here. And we can also drill down further to see how we perform during the days of the month. So this is actually aggregated as a sum, so it's showing us for the months that we have in the data set. But we can go back and have it like this. So you see that generally the sales are higher towards May, June compared to January, February. And what else do we have? We have the store location that may be interesting to look at as well. So if we drag and drop it here, you can see that we have 3 store locations. Let's see maybe how each one performs. So for that, maybe we may be interested in looking at the transaction quantity for each. And then we can display it maybe using a nice pie chart here. Yeah, so what we see here is that the sales for each store location is almost the same. Yeah, and you have a nice overview of the sales of the coffee shop. And then you can also, yeah, customize it as you want. So here we may be also interested in having the transaction quantity in the same bar chart. So you can just drag and drop it here, and you see here that it doesn't look so nice when you have them on top of each other. So you can actually switch from this stack column chart to a stacked bar chart, or maybe a custom clustered column chart. I think this one is much better because then you see the uh, transaction quantity here, and next to it you have the revenue. So you see here that coffee was the best performing product category in terms of the sum of the revenue, followed by the tea. Um, and we see that the coffee beans seems to have the highest ratio between the quantity and the revenue. Um, so yeah, you can get some interesting insights from this.